Hello everyone, I'm Wendell Jones and welcome to this edition of our program, The Platform. We examine national issues on our program regularly, but over the last several months, because it's the 50th anniversary of NIGAD International, we have been doing some special programming celebrating the 50th anniversary of Peter NIGAD and his wonderful company that is working around the world and bringing exquisite fashions to women, particularly around the world. And so we have assembled over the last several months a number of guests on our program through the instrumentality and courtesy of Bianca NIGAD, and today she has brought along another person to celebrate the anniversary and to talk about Bahamian culture. Bianca, it's good to see you as always.
It's so nice to be here again, thank you.
Yes, and the preparations are going, I understand, extremely well outside this country for the celebration of the 50th anniversary.
Yes, in Canada on September 14th. We have a lot of Bahamians coming. Are you coming?
So I'm told a whole lot of Bahamians are going to be there.
Yes, it's going to be really exciting.
Yes, and they're celebrating in Los Angeles as well?
Yes, Los Angeles and Canada, all over.
Very good. Peter NIGAD has been extremely good to many Bahamians, and I'm told that a whole lot of Bahamians are celebrating the 50th anniversary of his company. On our program today, we have a wonderful Bahamian who has been in the entertainment industry for a little while as a choreographer. She's been a designer, a singer, a whole lot of things, a planner. Maltese Davis,
yes.
It's good to see you here as usual.
Thank you very much. I like that singer one though. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
You've been in the entertainment industry for a long time.
Yes, 39 years.
39 years.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And talking about NIGAD's anniversary, I'm sure you would have met him and did some work for him, eh?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Man, listening to you guys going to Canada, I'm wondering how come he left me out. Yes, well, I started, I used to do King and Night show with King Eric, and I got to meeting Mr. NIGAD through King Eric, and he was an amazing man. He had the passion that I've always had for entertainment. And it's like he just kept us going. Even if we didn't have a booking in King and Nights, then we had one at NIGAD Key, where we had to take our Bahamian culture to NIGAD Key. And so we did a lot of stuff with Mr. NIGAD.
Yeah, he considered King Eric to be his brother, he said.
That's right. That is so right. Yes, and so with us doing a lot of, we're taking our show, the King and Night show, to NIGAD Key. And then there was a time when he had an audition. And I thought it was just amazing. It was incredible. Mr. NIGAD had an audition for a fire dancer on the beach.
Wow.
On the sand. And I sat there and I watched. I can't remember whether I took a fire dancer there or I was just there looking on. But I know Shavanya had gotten that gig that time, and she was incredible. And Mr. NIGAD just watched, and he knew what he wanted in entertainment. So, you know, many times I say thank you to him, because there were times when we thought that it was not going to happen, and he would just call and say, listen, bring the show to NIGAD Key. It was just, I mean, it was really a pleasure doing a lot of work with Mr. NIGAD and King Eric, my dad. Oh, that's my daddy.
Yes.
You know, so today I could kind of thank them also for who I became, you know.
And you've done a whole lot of work. And recently, you understand you did a special performance for the Prime Minister?
Yes, we did. I was the choreographer in Clifton's production.
Okay.
Clifton's Rising. That was in honor of the Prime Minister.
Clifton Rising?
Yes.
What was that about?
Well, Clifton was destroyed in the hurricane. The aftermath left Clifton totally destroyed. And with the Prime Minister, I think it's Killarney, being his
Right, Kalani, yes.
area, and the Member of Parliament for Fox Hill, Chanel Ferguson. She saw a lot of my work, and she said, I want you to do this for me. She also has a passion for culture. And so her line of bringing Clifton to light was to act and dance, from music to costuming to the acting of the slaves and everything, to bring Clifton, to bring it back alive. So we started that project from the first day in March, and on the 30th of June, the production was incredible. Even me too today, when I sit and look at some of the clippings from it, it seems as if you're watching something that should be on Broadway. The Bahamas just has some incredible talent, and I'm just hoping that Mr. Nygaard would even get a hold of some of these clips, see it for himself. I guarantee you, he will reach out to Miss Ferguson, and this will go places, because that's what he does. He keeps it alive. He tried to take it where it needs to go. So we're hoping that Clifton Rising can go one day on Broadway, like I imagine. Yeah.
Oh yes, I was fortunate enough to be able to be there and see the show. It was so fabulous. And I mean, there was probably like 20 dancers or something.
25, yeah.
25, yes, and with fire sticks and throwing each other up and doing flips and all kinds of just wonderful things. It really took my breath away.
Yes.
And it really should have been on Broadway or something like that. But it's such a treat to be able to have it here. So they'll be playing it again, I think, and other people will be able to view it. But that's exactly the kind of stuff that I'm looking forward to seeing here more. And it's so nice to be able to meet Maltese and see that she's doing this, taking so many people in, and she just you know, really has a love for Bahamian culture and wants to keep it alive and keep the traditions of the old dancing alive, and fire dancing and everything, rake and scrape, you know, alive. And so she just takes people in, and she actually teaches them for free, mostly.
Yes. Yes. Because we are now practicing fire. Yeah. And fortunately, Sailor has an interest, Bianca's daughter, for this culture. She has a passion out of this world. She wants to be a fire dancer. So I'm also, you know, helping with training her now, like I've done with many of the fire dancers throughout the Bahamas I've worked with. My son, and you know, again, going back to Mr. Nygaard, my son, because of him believing in us, pushing, always being the pillar of strength, encouraging King Eric, for King Eric, of course, culture, the Bahamian culture was his baby. And so one day he called my son and he said, listen, we need more younger talent, and you should be doing limbo. He said, and the next time we go to Nygaard Key, you should be doing limbo. And sure enough, my son limboed at Nygaard Key. Of course, he's 40 now, but
Is that right?
yes.
And fabulous. He's really such a good limbo dancer. Gets all the way down with fire and everything.
Yes, Baracha. He's incredible. And you know, I was always encouraged by those two people, King Eric and Mr. Nygaard, that keeping our culture alive is very important. So when some of the dancers would say they want to do ballet, I wanted to keep it the quadrille. I went to school for the African dances, and that I also teach at a Catherine International Academy. And so to me, that's my call. The African dances that I really master. And the quadrille, plaiting of the maypole, letting the dancers tell a story about what was happening back then. Where did this quadrille dance come from? Of course, it's a European dance, but what happened? Our forefathers would watch that being performed, and it was always after a successful day of farming, fishing, or whatever it is. And so we would sit in our corners and watch it performed. But when it was time for us to do the performance, we bought the rhythm, we bought the drums, we found everything you could think about to make music.
Talking about the quadrille, you had people doing rake and scrape,
Yes.
with the saw and all of that.
Yes, the rake and scrape with the saw, the tub, the Monica, the real rake and scrape, that down-home flavor. And we had the ladies dress as if they were fruit vendors or the market girls, and the guys with their suspenders and their straw hats and roll up one of those pants legs because they just came from laboring. And so that was a celebration dance that was from a successful day.
Yes.
You know, and today, even in my classes, I say many persons watch fire dancing and limbo dancing throughout the Bahamas, the Caribbean, and don't even know where it came from.
I spoke to some young people the other day, and I asked them about the quadrille, and they didn't know what I was talking about.
Wow.
And so it shows that we have a whole lot of teaching to do. We need to educate our young people about the Bahamian culture, the various dances, the music, because the quadrille might be a dying form of dance, eh?
Well, Mr. Jones, to be honest, it really saddens my heart. When I saw Bianca after so many years, because going out to Niagara Key, I had met her previously, and I said, it seems as if I can hand a baton on to you now to take off where your dad has left off, because he had a passion to keep us going. To me, some people say that we have no culture. That's so not true. Here in the Bahamas, we have so much to offer.
Yes.
And our children do not have any knowledge. It's not, some schools, well, maybe you have some teachers like myself who know of it, try to keep it or hold on to it. There's no place to perform these things here in the Bahamas. And so the kids are straying, you know, they don't know about it. There's probably just a handful of people that can teach a maypole dance, not knowing that the maypole dance comes from the chain that is within the quadrille. As the dancers would go through one another, holding on to the ribbon, it's the same chain. Because there are some basics in the quadrille that you have to know. It's called the bridge. You have to know how to do the heel and toe, and you have to know how to do that chain.
Well, tell me where you learned all of these things.
Well, Mr. Jones, one of your staff thought I was a little 19-year-old walking in, but I've been around. I've been around for many, many years.
Yeah.
And this, working with King Eric, Kayla Lockhart Edwards, and I just can go on and on. I learn a lot. I learn a lot, and I can remember back then some stuff that was so alive then.
Yes.
You know, we had show clubs where you could have gone. We have nowhere in the Bahamas. You know, as I travel over the world, because years ago we did a tour for Ministry of Tourism, and Lushik Dancers, which is my dance group, we were with that group of junkanooers that did the tour, and we were from state to state, Missouri, Chicago. We were just going with trying to, you know, let them get a taste of junkanoo and island dances and stuff. And I was like, if this can only happen, you know, we have a gold mine here just for someone to invest in it.
You know, people in the Ministry of Tourism, they complain about the Bahamian experience, that it's not what it used to be, and that visitors would like to get a true Bahamian experience.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to blame people like you for not doing enough to keep this alive.
Well, you know, Mr. Jones, I'm wondering, I'm wishing, I'm hoping, who else can I go to? Because when I saw Bianca, I was like, where's your dad? And she says, oh, well, he's not here anymore. I'm like, what? So she said, no, he does not live here anymore. I said, because I was looking for him. Like, this was somebody who I know I had to sit and say, listen, we need to do this. It needs to happen. We have nothing to showcase. Listen, I'm just so tired of hearing sun, sand, and sea. Yes, we are so blessed with that, but so does many other Caribbean countries. What about the Bahamas that we can bring to the forefront? What about it? The support of us supporting each other here in the Bahamas.
A lot of
you
the
know?
entertainers are moving off the scene.
Yes.
And some of them we've lost in recent times, King Eric being one of them, Ronnie Butler being another. We've lost quite a bit of them in recent years. And it's, as you mentioned, Peter Nygaard, who loves Bahamian culture in the Bahamas. It's a pity that he is not spending the kind of time here anymore.
Yes.
And I guess it's because of how he's been treated.
Well, I guess so.
you know,
I mean, I don't know in detail everything, but I did hear some stories, and I thought it was rather sad because he's always been there. So many times we come out on stage to start the show, and whether there's 4 or 5 persons seated in King and Knights, you will see him. He's there. He truly supported the Bahamian culture. I can vouch for that. And like I said, times when we didn't have a show because there were no bookings, nobody to bring tourists to see our culture. He said, bring it to Nygaard Key.
Yes.
You think about that. So imagine if we had, there's no showroom here for a native show where people don't fine tune it. We will say, okay, we'd like to have an African dance. What is the significant importance of an African dance? It's deeply embedded in our culture, you know?
Yes, right.
But people would not hire you to come to a hotel to just do an African dance, not knowing the importance of where it started, where it came from. Oh, and don't let me try to sell a package to one of the hotels with a quadrille dance. What is that? Everybody's looking at more of an appeal, you know, something very skimpy, and this is going to sell. But when people know the true stories behind our history and what we need the world to know, what we really would want, I just hope Mr. Nygaard would give us a chance again.
Well, that's one thing that I know, that he loved the culture so much, and then he did pass that on to me, and I passed it on to my children. So it is very important to us.
Yes.
And I appreciate people that are like you that are continuing to teach everybody the culture, you know. It is so important. I love the story. Can you tell the story about the fire dancing and how it started? I don't know if you know how fire dancing started.
Well, Mr. Jones, you care to know about this one?
Go ahead.
There we go. Well, hundreds of years ago, fire dancing was actually a bonfire. They would go in the square, again after a successful day, and they would light a fire. And they would sit around, and they would tell stories of their success. Fishing was good. They had a good catch. We got a lot of cassava, potato, peas. It was good. So everybody made a bonfire, and they would just dance around in the fire. And then they would use pieces of the fire to purify the earth. So when they would burn where they had reaped, it would purify the earth so that they could replant again. It was a peaceful event, and it was a dance of love, fire dancing. That's as much as I would share. You know why? Because I want to put persons like you, tourism, culture, in a position to dig more. Allow the children in the school to know what it's about, so they too would have a passion to want to learn and want to do it.
Yeah. Well, let's take a break. And I believe, Bianchi, you brought along some video, right?
Oh, yes, I have a little clip.
Very good. So that we can see some of the work of Ms. Davis. We take this break here on our program, and we'll come right back.